Hi everybody, we're going to do some reading again today, and we are going to continue looking at the explain of vipers, and in particular we're going to be looking at how information is related and contributes to the meaning. Now I'm going to go into that a bit more detail in a second, but it's really looking at how different authors either all deal with the same subject or deal with different subjects. It's looking at how everything is interrelated and the reasons why authors choose to do certain things. So some of our questions might look like this. Is why do you think the author chooses to use a such and such to present the information? So we're looking at organisational structures. So have a think what an organisational structure is. Organisational structures is how we organise our information. It might be things like headings, subheadings, pictures, diagrams, labels, captions, paragraphs, bullet points, numbered steps. It could be a wide range of things. It mainly to do with how information is organised. So here we've got why have they chosen to use a question? Why have they used bullet points, subheadings, and things like that? What is the story underneath the story? And does the story have a moral or message? There's two ways of saying very similar things. But again, it's how has the author structured their writing in order to portray that message? What sorts of things? It might be some sort of techniques. Why have they used these? And it could be something to do with illustrations. In what way or in what ways do the illustrations support the instructions? So why have they included instructions? How does that help them? And it might be a certain diagram. Lots of the times you see maps in non-chronological reports or diagrams. How do they support the information? So you've got two texts today, and they both deal with the same topic. They both deal with war, and you're going to be looking, but they both deal with war in a very different way. One deals, I'm not going to give you that. So one deals with it, actually they both deal with it in different ways. I don't want to spoil the questions too much. So here we have, what I suggest you do is I suggest you read both texts first. There are going to be some people that don't read the text and then start the questions and then spend lots of time and get stuck, and actually their answers aren't very good. But if you sit down and you enjoy them, enjoy the text, you will learn something from them. Yeah? So read them, enjoy what you're reading, and it might take you quite a while to sit there and read them. One of them is 2 and a bit pages long. One of them is 2 pages. The other one is 2 pages long. Enjoy them, understand them. You might want to pick the texts apart. You might want to annotate them. You might want to make some notes on each of them. That might help you. But enjoy them. It's about war and aeroplanes. So, if you're going for the one chili, make a table. Remember our table, it might look like that. Obviously a lot straighter, hopefully. And what are the similarities or differences between the two texts? So I've given you a clue of one of them. The topic is something that's similar. There are so many things that are similar about these texts, yet they are very, very different. What is it? It might be sorts of language that they use. It might be organisational structures. It might be the use of pictures. It might be the specific words that they use or vocabulary. And then I want you to explain why the pictures have been used in the first text. Now, the most common answer we get with questions like this, because they look nice, to make the reader read it. And the reader isn't reading the text because they look at the pictures. The pictures should help them. Normally, it's to help them understand something. Why have those specific pictures been included? What does it help the reader to understand? Number 2, name these 2 different types of texts. So what is the name of the texts? What is the text type? And explain why you think that. So what this is testing is, do you know your different text types, and do you know what it takes? So I think this is a narrative because it has these features. I think it's a non-chronological report because it has these features. I think it's a diary because it has these features. I think it's an instructions because it has these features. And what I want you to do is list the organisational features that you can see. Now, I suggest you do that in a table with text 1 and 2, or the text type that you find. What organisational features do you see? And much like the one chili, you might even go an extra step and say what's similar and what's different. 3 chilies. List the organisational structures that the 2 authors have used and rank them in order of importance for each text type. So you'll go in that one extra step further and actually saying this is the most important feature for this text type because I'm ranking them, putting them in order of importance. And number 2, explain how language is used differently in the text. Now that might be to do with the actual words that they use. They might use more technical words, they might use more figurative language, they might use more similes, they might use more adjectives, they might use more topic words, so like words like that are specific to certain genres and topics. It might be the language is used to build emotions. It might be the language is used to carry across their point. It might be the language is used to persuade, to inform, to give them information. Have a think about that. How is the language used differently? Because it's used very differently to tackle the same topic. A really interesting one here. Remember, these sorts of questions are a good way to pick up a few marks in a paper, but if this is something that we're really struggling with, don't worry too much, because we're going to be looking next week at how we can get the bulk of our marks in a paper. But what I really want you to take away from this is just enjoy the text, enjoy reading them. They're quite long. Please don't get put off by the fact that they're quite long. You might